Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of TV is Our Real Mom. I'm Dave,
I'm Katie.
and you are listening to our weekly Alone podcast, in which we share our thoughts on the latest episode of History Channel's Alone. Seems like just yesterday we were wrapping up season 3 of Alone, and
Wasn't that long ago.
yeah, when was that? How long ago was that?
And actually, I think it was February.
February?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I remember I was on Facebook and I follow Alone on Facebook, and I saw a preview and they said something about like a new season coming in June, and that was like a couple weeks before it aired.
Yeah, they don't promote it until like right before, it seems.
Yeah, there was no word that I heard of that this show was even coming back on.
Well, it's difficult because unlike Survivor, it's a set 39-day season. They know when it ends, they know when it begins, they have it down to a science. You don't know how long Alone is going to go. Perhaps they weren't planning on having this one out until September or something, but everybody's tapping out. And so they, had a season in the can before they thought they would. But if you think about it, the third season premiered in December, so perhaps they are a bit like Survivor, where they'll do 2 a year.
Okay, yeah, that could be. Yeah, and who knows like how many of these they're like filming at the same time, and like how like once one gets done, they have another one ready to go. Like I have no idea how their filming schedule works.
The seasons in Patagonia is different than the seasons in Vancouver Island. Like you've got Northern Hemisphere winter, and then you've got Southern Hemisphere winter. So they can film 2 a year and have it be winter. So that's probably why they chose the location in South America.
Right. And if they have the budget and the manpower, they could be filming these at 2 at the same time.
Yeah.
Like you're just like filming tons of these and you can crank them out whenever you want.
Yeah, it's becoming like this season of Alone is almost like an offshoot of regular Alone because it has a subtitle, Lost and Found.
Yeah, Alone, Lost and Found. And basically the premise of the new version of Alone is they're not alone.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think they should call it. Alone, not alone.
Yeah.
But to be fair, they are all still alone.
Well, for now they are. Yeah.
For now.
But yeah, it does kind of mess with the title of the show itself when you throw in the new twist.
It does, and I was very confused when I first saw the new premise, but I'm not going to write it off because from what I've seen so far, it seems harder.
Yeah, well, at least, I mean, for the person who has to hike, that
person really gets the shaft, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, that seems like it really sucks. I mean, you can tell like some of these seasoned survivalists you can see this look in their eyes that said
they're afraid.
They're like, I don't think I can do this. Like, I don't know if I can do this. There's a couple of them that have that look in their eye.
And the tone of their voice.
Yeah, where they just want to, and then you have 2 teams tap out within the first 2 days. I mean, that says a lot, I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it's also
the people that tap. Yeah, or go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, they've got some really young guys on here, 19 years old, but those 2 guys were the first to be like, nope, I'm out.
And then Alex's son Logan, he's pretty young too, isn't he?
That's the one I'm talking about.
Oh, I thought you meant the two.
No, I think the older brother was more prepared. The younger brother was the one that hurt himself and had to pull. And then Alex's son, Logan, who was also 19, that guy sucked.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he's fine as a human, but like when he tapped, like I felt so bad for his dad because he was talking about how it was his lifelong dream to have this bonding experience with his son. And then he didn't even like apologize to his dad. He was just like, yeah, I'm done. And I was like, why is this your son you care so much about? He seems terrible.
Yeah, as bad as that sounds, I can't lie. Like I kind of laughed when I saw Alex's face when his son was telling him like why he tapped, and it like I thought Alex, I kind of got the sense that Alex was expecting him to say like, oh, I'm so sick, like I got ill, like or like I broke my leg,
or I got eaten by a bear, which is what they
Yeah.
were leading you to believe at the end of the first episode.
right. But here he is just saying like, I can't do it, this sucks, like
It's literally been a day.
yeah, he's I just, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. And then the look on Alex's face is like utter disappointment. Like he can't hide it. Like, oh, my son is a pussy. Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't know if I've talked about this in our last season, Alone podcast, but I've camped one night in backcountry of Glacier National Park where there are bears. And that's enough to make me never want to do it again. But I'm not a self-proclaimed bushcraft wizard who like knows how to do this, you know?
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
the fear he felt when those bears were out there, that I can understand. But like most times on Alone, these people get past that, you know?
yeah. Well, we've had many contestants tap because of bears. Not many, but several tap because
There's been a few that I can think of, yeah.
And I don't think you even saw season 1, did you?
No, but there were a couple in season. Or there was one in season 2 and one in season 3. Actually, season 3 obviously was a puma or a cougar or whatever it was. But
well,
you know,
I think like the first couple 2-3 people to tap in season 1 tap because of bears and seeing them. Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. Bears are terrifying. I don't ever want to be around one. That's why I don't do that. But these people do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, I can't be a hypocrite here and pretend like I would do better, but yeah.
But I would never sign up for this.
Right. And Alex's face, I don't know. To me, it is sad in actuality, but just like it's kind of funny too, because just the utter disappointment he has in his son.
When he was talking about what a great life-altering experience it was going to be, and then the reality of what his son actually is capable of sunk in.
He's like, "Oh no,
like, son, I misjudged you."
Oh God, yeah, it's terrible, but yet you got to find the humor in it too.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah, like how much time do we spend, talking about Alex and Logan, and who are the other two losers?
Josh and Brad.
Josh and
I'm pretty sure it's Brad.
Yeah.
Josh and Brad Richardson.
Brad and Josh. Yeah. How much time do we spend talking about them when they tap so early? Like, is it a lost cause? Do we call it?
I mean, we can comment on the tap, I guess, but it wasn't even like evening, and he was like, I'm done. I mean, I know he hurt himself, so maybe there's a little more leeway there than with Alex, but Logan, excuse me. But,
do you buy the injury as the reason for quitting?
I think the injury put the real fear into him. Maybe.
I question whether he just used the pain as an excuse to quit, because
it crossed my mind as well.
Yeah, like he wanted to quit. He gave himself a reason.
And the thing that's crazy is, were Alex or was Logan and Josh even the ones hiking, or were they the ones doing the shelter?
Logan and Josh. I thought I had written down here somewhere which one did.
I know that Josh,
Logan was Logan was shelter,
and so was Josh.
Yeah, and
so they weren't even doing the hard part.
So Josh, the shelter guy, was the one who hurt his foot.
Yeah.
I had that mixed up. For some reason, I thought he was hiking, but
no, his brother Brad with the red flannel was the one hiking. The short hair.
Shelter guys are the ones to
shelter
quit.
guy 19-year-olds, not to be ageist or whatever. But my first thought when I saw how young these guys were was, I wonder if they can hack it. And then immediately it was like, no, they can't.
Yeah, I don't know. You do kind of think back to like when you first got out of high school and you were first thrust into the real world. And it happens at like different times for different people. Like some people don't really get out into the real world right after high school, but like sometime after high school, you're going to have this like kind of rude
Epiphany.
awakening. Yeah. That high school was easy. Like it really was, even though you had to get up early every day and whatever. You
It
know.
was structured. You had just, and everyone's experience is different, but you had like a massive group of people. You could most likely find at least one person that you bond with. You just have a wall of people to choose from. And then, the real world comes around and things aren't just like that anymore.
Smacks you in the chops. And
really
yeah, so like for these 19-year-olds, I think they're like, oh, like I graduated high school. I know what's up. But yeah, they haven't had that life experience. Like,
yeah,
they just need a couple of years of it, honestly, and they would make a huge difference. But yeah, coming right out of, I mean, they're maybe a year out of high school at the most, and that's just not going to cut it. It's no surprise. Not gonna cut it. Yeah, it's no surprise that these guys had to tap out.
No, I wasn't shocked. I was expecting Logan to maybe be severely injured, and that's why he tapped, but nope.
Nope.
Wasn't the case. So yeah, I don't want to devote a whole big amount of time to them. That was my read on the situation. I feel bad for their partners. Like, how do you feel about if one gets pulled, the other has to get pulled too?
I don't like it. I mean,
yeah, I don't either, because the other one, people are like ready and raring to go.
Yeah, I think the show is called Alone, so I think you should leave it up to last man standing. Like, the whole team doesn't have to survive. Obviously, if teams get together, they're going to do better and be at an advantage and thus maybe outlast the solo guys. But I think you should still leave it up to, okay, who's the last man standing?
Yeah, I agree.
So I think they should have left
maybe
them in.
They packed a certain way, like the shelter person had a certain amount of tools, and the the hiking person had another set of tools that went together was even more powerful than they are apart. But like, you can't do it all with just half the tools.
Yeah, that's true. I have a theory, maybe.
Okay.
What if this rule only applies until you get together? Because it doesn't seem fair that a team can win with someone who didn't make the hike. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no,
if the hike,
that's fair.
If the hike is a success, maybe at that point, whichever individual lasts the longest once the hike has been completed, then maybe they'll do that. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but it makes you wonder, like, I don't know what I was gonna say. Why does it always happen?
But why does it always happen to me?
It doesn't work. But no, if one person wants to tap, what if their teammate doesn't want to tap? That'll probably provide a lot of fodder down the road, actually. That whole conflict.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure the producers of the show saw this coming, and
yeah,
they want that to happen. They want that conflict. So
yeah, we'll get it. It looks like there will be some fights if these people ever find each other. It looks like we might lose a third pair already on freaking day 4. It's like last season we thought it was never going to end. And this season, I doubt we make it to day 30.
I know, it's kind of weird, man. Like, to have and to have them drop 2 at a time. I mean, you start with 14 people, 7 teams, and then immediately down to 4 and 8. It's like, yeah, what kind of show? What kind of show is this?
Perhaps this will be over sooner than we think.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe that's why it's a summer season. It'll be just like a short little thing, I guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, what was it? What was it, Logan? What did he say was his thing? Okay, yeah, Logan said he was more methodical. Like, he talked about how Alex had the experience, but Logan was a very methodical thinker, and we like never got to see anything play out with that. It was just
he wasn't very methodical when he left his food in his bag for the bear to get.
Yeah, that was not methodical thinking there, I guess.
think it was just frustrated. Like, I mean, the youth comes into play here. I think it was all the people hiking said how hard it was, and they're all frustrated by it. And I think that just causes these younger guys to fold quicker. Maybe Logan was hiking. I feel like he was hiking.
No, I don't think that's right. I think Alex was hiking. Yeah.
Well, he seemed pissed about something.
Yeah.
I thought the only thing people were pissed about was the salal bush.
The salal, yeah, that's the thick brush that these guys are hiking through, right?
Mm-hmm. It grows together.
Right. So Brad and Josh, is there anything else you want to say about them? On anything about their tap out, their fight?
I thought that Brad handled it very well. I felt very bad for him because he was ready to go, and his first thing was, "Is Josh okay?" He seemed, you could see the hurt in his face, but he was really just concerned about his brother, which I thought was cute. I felt bad for him.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was interesting that their profession was they were blacksmiths. Like they want to start.
Yeah, they're like, with this money, I'm going to expand my blacksmith shop. And I'm like, bro, is there a need for that? Like, I understand historic interpretation and all that stuff. And there's like a niche for it, but.
Yeah, I don't know. You might be surprised. I think there's, especially with the popularity of Game of Thrones and nerd culture, I think there's a lot of people buying stuff like that online. True. A lot of people buying stuff like that online for actually, I mean, you put in a lot of work on these items and they sell for a lot of money. So I think there actually is probably some money to be made there, surprisingly.
Okay. You convinced me. Doesn't matter. They didn't get the money.
Yeah, they won't be expanding their blacksmith business. So
it sucks.
But
they're young. They got plenty of time.
Props for trying. I will gladly accept a gift of a sword if they want to send one my way.
Why would they ever? We were talking shit about them. No, we didn't.
I just gave them props just now to make
You guys are awesome. Send us a sword.
To make up for calling them losers a second
ago. We didn't call them losers.
I did, but I just meant they lost the game. I didn't mean they're losers.
Yeah,
I didn't mean they're losers. Anyways, let's move on to some of the people that might actually last in the game. Or should we get out of the way the next team that's going to
Jesse and Shannon?
Yeah, Jesse and Shannon.
That was really sad because they're close. They're a mile apart, and Shannon could hear Jesse, but Jesse didn't know that Shannon heard him. And then he goes and freaking falls on it. What even happened? He fell somehow.
I have no idea. I mean, that's part of the problem of how this show is made. I mean, these guys are filming themselves.
Yeah.
Trying to survive, and they have to film themselves. And so we didn't get a really good angle of what exactly happened. Basically, Shannon was just standing there, and all of a sudden he's on his side.
He's not.
So, I mean, I guess he probably slipped. I mean, it's raining. It's probably slippery.
I knew as soon as his brother Jesse was saying that he wants to get there to make sure Shannon doesn't hurt himself because he's a klutz. As soon as he said that, I was like, oh, crap.
Oh, yeah, that was the same team, wasn't it? I remember, him saying that the reason that was just perfect that he said that, like
their whole story was just kind of heartbreaking the way it was done with the shouting and everything. And him deciding after he shouted, oh, we must still be a few miles apart. And then they show Shannon, and he's literally a mile away. Yeah,
and Shannon was yelling back. I guess they just couldn't hear each other at all.
And then he falls. If they have to tap, oh, I'm going to be so sad.
I think they're going to have to. I mean, his face, I guess I'm forgetting like the previews. The previews have showed a lot, like this season on alone. They've showed a lot of like which teams end up together, and I forget if they were involved at all. But
when I heard from the preview, I remember the shouting of Shannon. So I was like, oh, they're not going to tap. But then the shouting scene happened. And I was like, oh, they are going to tap probably.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Shannon's face, and he looks like he's in a lot of pain. Like
that was a big thud.
Yeah, he messed something up good. I don't know. Maybe it just.
But if Jesse gets to him, maybe he can take care of him.
Yeah, he could have just hit something really hard, and like he'll have like a really bad bruise or something.
Or maybe it was the camera falling that was the really loud thud.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that hurt really bad for a day, but they aren't
Yeah,
bad enough to tap, So
exactly.
maybe it's something like that. But
I hope so.
yeah. So what do we know about these two?
I don't
What's
remember.
their deal?
One of them's in the military?
Are these the guys
Jesse?
that like one of them's like a fisherman and a what did he called it? What did he call it? It was like a
Professional adventurer?
is that these guys? No, the professional adventure, that's one of the brothers, one of the Ted and Jim.
Oh, they're my favorites.
Yeah. But yeah, he's a fisherman and a
Of
substantial
subsistence. Subsistence
subsistence hunter,
teacher?
something like that. Subsistence. That one of these guys is that. That's all I know.
Okay.
And then
Narrows it down.
are these the two guys with they both have wives and
No,
daughters
that's
and
the other one. The brothers that are 11 years apart.
yeah, I knew from the cat. I watched the cast preview.
Uh-huh.
That was really good. A good way to kind of get to know these people. But
Looks
I
like
knew.
you're still having trouble.
Well, yeah, it was a good way to get to know them. But like,
Oh,
let me finish my thought.
okay.
I knew from the beginning of this thing that I was gonna have a tough time telling apart Shannon and Jesse and Chris and Brody. Is that them?
Oh, is that their names? Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, there's two brothers, two sets of brothers that are like big brown-haired guys
In their 30s,
in their
40s.
30s and 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I am having a really tough time. Like even right now, I'm
I
having a
agree.
tough time remembering what each one looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's early on. We have barely seen them. There's like one brother that's featured more than the other in both pairs, and now, of course, the Jesse and Shannon thing stands out because of the yelling and the accident. But anyway, I don't
Yeah.
know what else to say about them. I feel like I could like them. Though I liked how, or I don't know if I liked it, but Jesse was really, really pissed at
Yeah,
the
he bitches a
mountain.
lot.
He does.
That doesn't bode well because one thing that has kind of, and we've said this in our past podcast of Alone,
Yeah.
that one thing all the winners have in common is they have a really good sense of humor. Everything that happens, they put a funny spin on it.
Yeah,
You
I was
know?
keeping my eye out for who it was. And Logan immediately, I was like, this guy's attitude is garbage. He's not going to last. And I didn't know he'd tap that soon. But
Right.
so I was keeping my eyes peeled for the funny one. And I thought, yeah, that Jesse had a bad attitude, but he was kind of funny about it.
Yeah.
But he was still
His
mad.
attitude stinks, but yeah, he does have a sense of humor. Like, I mean, I don't. He also when he was like, he's bitching about the rain, and he's like, "This sucks," and then he's like, "Whatever, I'm still doing it."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "I'm still doing it," like because he doesn't back down from a challenge or whatever. So I
Right.
mean, maybe that attitude will serve him well, but I think the lack of the sense of humor, it's like a really underrated quality for
Yeah,
the winner.
it's true. That's why when I saw Jim and Ted, I was like, well, these guys are miles away, funnier than any of the other ones, so they must be the winners, right?
They gotta win. Yeah.
It's
I don't
gotta be them.
know. So yeah, is this Jesse and Shannon or Jesse the one who says like F that mountain?
Yeah, that was the same part. Yeah.
And that was pretty funny. I mean
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
he was
But just in his
bitching.
before he even said anything, the tone of his voice, you were like, shit, that he's not happy.
He's pissed. And yeah, it's a little bit shades of what's the Minnesotan guy from season
Larry.
Yeah, Larry.
Oh,
Shades
God
of
bless
Larry.
Larry.
So, but yeah, Larry made it pretty far.
But Larry did, and he had that
So-
attitude from the beginning, so
Right. So you
he
never
was
know.
just sick, but he was funny too. Like he was crazy and funny at the same time.
Yeah, I think that headstrong stubbornness can get you almost as far as that like sense of humor. You
But
know?
that's what sucks about this situation is he could maybe do it, but his brother fell on his ass. Or probably something more important than his ass.
Right. Yeah.
And so he
So-
can have that attitude all he wants, but if that screws him over, then he's done. And that kind of
Right.
bums me out.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer for sure.
Because maybe some of these people would be really good on a regular season of Alone. But if they ever do an all-star, these people are really getting screwed and would be deserving of a second chance, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Alone,
Okay.
second chances.
All right, let's jump over to the favorites, the fan favorites, Ted and Jim.
Or as I like to call them, Bill and Ted, because they sound like Keanu Reeves, kind of. The Canadian Keanu Reeves.
Canadian Keanu Reeves, nice. Is Keanu Reeves Canadian?
Pretty sure he's like Valley Boy, like
Yeah.
California.
At least that's how he's cast, but
How he sounds.
Ted and Jim.
I can't tell them apart. Don't ask me to tell you which is which. They
Ted
look
and
the
Jim
same.
Bayard.
Yeah, they're like the only non-brunette people in the cast.
Yeah, they're very
have red
blondish.
hair.
Yeah.
Strawberry blondish red hair.
Strawberry blondish, yeah. So I can kind of tell them apart. I know. Well, first of all, let's figure out. Okay, Ted is camping. Jim
He's
is
shelter.
Jim is walking. Ted is camping. Okay. The older brother is the 6'5" one.
And that's right. They're giant men. Yeah, that's gonna be tough to feed two of those.
Yeah, and their faces look a little different. The taller one, yeah, you can kind of tell.
Which is the one that caught the fish?
I believe that's the one that's camping, because I don't think.
Yeah, because he has the gill net. So why would a hiker set up a gill net?
Yeah, I don't think the hiker has time to really like fish, even though that it wouldn't be a bad idea if they could do it. But I think they're. Go ahead.
I was gonna say a gill net is for like being stationary.
Yeah, you're gonna have to stay in one spot for pretty much an entire day waiting for the tide, or whatever, to go in and out. So, yeah, and also like hiking as a strategy, what would you do? Would you like take your time with it and make sure you do it right, or would you say like the sooner I get there, no matter how exhausted, the better?
That's typically my philosophy on these types of things. Not that I do anything close to this, but I feel like with that kind of terrain, you have no choice but to just go slow.
Okay, interesting. Because
pray that the person in the shelter doesn't hurt themselves by falling on their face.
That's interesting. I feel like I would try to just really go for it, get there as fast as I could.
Really? Okay. Well, I feel like you're more prone to accident that way.
Yeah,
that's the only thing.
But I guess I mean like less stopping to fish, or and rest, and really just go as far as you can in a day. Like, because if you think about it, like if you could do 5 miles in a day, which would be really hard, you can get there. You can get there in just over 2 days. But I mean, that's obviously impossible. Look, the closest someone's gotten in 5 days is 1 mile. So
I'm so confused by the timeline, because the one guy, Alex, was like, give me 3 days. And then I forget which other pair it was, but it was like, yeah, I probably won't see them for a couple weeks. And I was like, what? Like, this is a pretty wide disparity.
Yeah, obviously they don't really know what they're dealing with, I guess.
They don't know where all they have is a bearing. That's it. They don't know. Like, I would be screwed because I don't even know how to use a compass.
Right, yeah. I don't either.
And you know what it made me think about? Like, on Lost, I don't know why Lost always comes up, but I assume Lost, it was a pretty big place, a pretty big jungle, dense jungle that they were in, and yet they were always just running into each other.
Yeah, that's pretty much impossible, but yeah, it's a TV show, so.
And it was a supernatural island, but still.
Yeah.
It seems pretty far-fetched.
I was just looking at my notes. I have to make a correction. It turns out it was Brody that said F that mountain. It was not Jesse.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure. But based on my notes, maybe.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out. It's at the point in the season where it's like, do you even want to learn these people's names? Because, geez, if Jesse and Shannon tap out, we're down to 4. This is like the same as having 4 people left, which is like the end of the season. Right, yeah. It's kind of weird. Like, I feel it seems to me like if they were trying to make a whole season out of this, that they would like spread these taps out some more. But maybe it's going to get to a point where it becomes a solo thing. I don't know. Maybe, or just like the next 4 teams last a really long time, and it's interesting watching them interact with each other, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, they can't help what happens. You know, like they didn't want those guys to tap right away, but that's
Yeah, I'm just
what
saying, as
happens.
far as editing goes, like they could edit it to drag it out. They don't want a 5-episode season.
No, definitely not.
I
So
don't know.
I don't think we're in for that. I think we'll get at least 8 episodes, you know,
Okay.
at least.
Yeah.
But okay, so
Do you want to talk about
oh,
Jim and Ted and the Slug song?
Jim and Ted Baird, and yeah, the Slug song.
I don't remember how it goes, but it made me laugh.
Thought I wrote down like some of it. I wrote
Slig a
down
slig a slig a slug.
what what is a slug? Is it a bug? Yeah, I don't remember the
That
rest
it? There
either.
was more to it.
Yeah.
You went sliggity sliggity slug.
Sliggity sliggity slug. And then he boiled, didn't he boil it? He boils
Yeah,
the
he
slug.
boiled it.
And he eats it and he says it's disgusting. Ugh.
That's kind of how I pictured a slug would taste.
Yeah, he said there's a familiar taste to it, but he can't get past the slime.
Well, maybe if you like roasted it, it would char the slime off or
Right.
something.
So this
Boiling
is
it is just gonna make something mushier.
yeah, maybe he should have roasted it. Good point. Dry it out a little bit.
But wasn't there something about a stinger of venom or something in the slug?
Well, what it has, I guess it's a banana slug, which is probably like the nickname for it. But
Sure.
yeah, it has some kind of venom or whatever you want to call it that can make your tongue go numb, apparently.
Oh, yeah, that sounds
Um,
terrible. Forever?
I don't think so. I think it would be temporary, but I don't think it happened to him. I don't think
Probably
so.
boiling it gets rid of it.
So yeah, was that Jim or Ted that was singing that song?
I have no idea what the difference is.
I don't either.
I
So
think it was Ted.
God, I don't know.
They were both funny. The one guy was getting frustrated, and I was like, "Oh shit, did I misjudge these guys?" But then he caught 5 fish and he was happy again.
Right. Yeah.
Whichever one that was, I don't know. They look the same to me.
Yeah. But yeah, they are going to be probably the funnest characters of the season.
I'm excited to see them interact together.
They seem like huge goofballs.
Yeah.
If you watched the cast preview thing, yeah, you get a lot of them joking around and stuff, and they seemed really funny in that too. So
Okay.
I think we'll get a lot of good stuff out of these guys.
Good. I hope they hang around.
Did anything else happen to them that we should talk about, or?
I think that was it. I just remember really liking them immediately.
Yeah, I like the part where, yeah, they're pretty much the introduction to them in episode 2 is, I can't remember which one has the knife, but he has the knife where he's getting limpets with it, and he's like, I brought this knife because I knew it'd be great for prying up limpets.
Like, oh yeah, and then he's like, wait, your hand works better.
And he's like, not so great actually. It breaks them.
Oh so yeah, the limpet. I forgot about that.
He brought the knife just for that, and then it didn't work. But yeah, he was funny about it.
Mm-hmm. Have we met all the pairs?
I don't think so. I think we're missing a couple, and I could fill you in on who it is.
Oh, because you've watched the cast thing, yeah.
Right.
It's probably another set of brothers.
Yeah, I believe we're missing. No, it's a father and son we're missing.
Oh.
Yeah.
They must go far.
Probably they seem qualified.
Definitely. So you're telling me there's 14 people and they got one girl?
Yep, that's correct. And mostly brothers.
Yeah. They probably couldn't find a pair of girls who do this.
Yeah, or even a husband wife must have been tough to find, or like a brother.
But I have to say, the wife, the one girl, seems like she's chilling. She's doing fine.
Yeah, should we move on to Brooke and Dave?
Yeah.
Brooke and Dave, not Brick.
Brooke and Dave.
Her name's not Brick. Yeah, Brooke and Dave. I feel good about these two. Like, yeah, solid team right here. These guys do this stuff all the time. They have 2 different locations that they live in. Mm-hmm. They live in Alaska and Michigan. Mm-hmm. And they've they basically have lived off the grid for a really long time without running water and all that stuff. Kind of like Fowler did from season 3.
Yeah,
And we all know he did very well. So,
very well.
so yeah. What are your thoughts on Brooke and Dave?
Brooke is nailing it so far. She's got a friggin' fireplace, so she's fine. I don't know about her food situation. I guess they haven't really talked about it yet. But I'm a little worried about Dave. Just from previews, it looks like it's going to take him longer than expected to get to her. And just, I'm worried about anyone who's hiking, to be honest. Like, it seems terrible. And I'm not convinced any of the hikers are ever going to get to their people. They're making them cross freaking mountains and lakes and shit. Like, how's a person supposed to do that?
Yeah, I don't think the producers of the show were thinking very clearly when they planned the route to go over a mountain.
Yeah.
That seems a little unfair.
I would have flipped it off too.
Unless, you know, maybe they brought this on themselves. Like, it could very well be it's a situation where the path from where he started to where he needed to be, if he had planned better, he would have gone around the side of it and been right there. But he like took a stupid route, and then boom, there's a mountain in his way. And they anticipated that he would be smart enough to figure this out. That could be. I don't know. How the hell do we know?
Can't you always go around the mountain? Because your bearing's always going to point in the direction that the person is, and you just might take longer.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's the obvious way to go. Don't go over the mountain if you think you can't handle the terrain. Just go around it.
Climb, the altitude, and the slipperiness. It just seems so dangerous.
It does seem like a bad idea. I'm sure that's what he'll end up doing, is just kind of skirting around it a little bit.
Wait, was that Brody or Jesse?
Once again, based on my notes, I'm thinking it's Brody that has to go.
Okay, maybe I blended those two together as well, because I was confused.
Well, yeah, it's super easy to do that because they're literally like the same age and they look a lot alike.
Well, yeah, I guess I can see that. Yeah,
they're white.
They both were pissed off white men in their 30s, mad about the path to get to their brother.
Both of them. I mean, Chris and Brody are 44 and 33, and then Shannon and Jesse are 31 and 44.
So they have like the exact same situation going on.
They're literally the same age. I think they both have
like big age gap.
Yeah, I think they both have like wives that they care about greatly and all that stuff. They have the same story going.
Okay, so it's easy to confuse the two. The four.
Yeah, so if we lose Shannon and Jesse, I guess it'd probably be the best. Yeah, we got Chris and Brody waiting in the bullpen. So
okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
maybe it's better one of them goes because it'll be too confusing.
Yeah, so when Brooke gets fire, made me think about like how fun it is to see the successes of, you know, this wilderness living thing. Like, you see everybody struggling so hard and how difficult it is to get these simple little things. And then when Brooke manages to have this nice little setup and she gets fire, it's just like you get this good feeling, you know, you're like something so primal and so simple.
Yeah, you know? She reminded me a little bit of Callie from last season, and just how calmly and efficiently she like makes this crazy awesome setup for herself. Like, it was impressive.
Right. You're sort of, before you're going out there, you're sort of like visualizing like how it could go in a good way. And you think about these little milestones, and I'm guessing like getting fire for the first time, like experiencing that must have been like so exciting for her.
Yeah.
Like,
she seems pretty happy.
Yeah, watching the camera show that fire that she made, you know what I mean?
That was a dope fireplace, man.
Yeah, super good. So yeah, I mean, not only did I have a good feeling about Dave and Brooke, but so far their narrative is on a positive arc.
Yeah, I think they'll do okay. I feel good about them. They'll probably be
them top 2 teams.
Yeah. I think the 4 that are left, I mean, Jesse and Shannon are left. I'm dubious about their chances.
Right.
I don't want to be a rude person, but you don't have the really young people there in any of the other teams, you know?
Right. who's the youngest person left on the board? Probably one of Jim.
Jim or Ted? Are they in their 30s?
Well, Jim's
or 20s?
32, so that means I don't remember Shannon or Jesse. Which one's 31? I think Shannon.
So maybe Jesse. No, I think Jesse's the younger one there. Because he's the
okay.
military guy with the fade. He's got the
Right.
fade.
Yeah, Jesse's 31. Who else we got? Oh, Pete and Sam.
We haven't met them yet.
Seen yet. 61 and 30 something.
See, I feel like that's the sweet spot. Like, think about the winners. Last year, Fowler was in his 30s, maybe 40. I think he was in his 30s. And then you have Dave from season 2, who was well into his 40s. Like, I feel like a life experience really helps you in a situation like this. Like, you know, things are going to suck, and they're going to suck hard for maybe a really long time before they get good. When you're young, you're kind of just used to, well, this isn't fun. This sucks. It's been long enough. Quit. I'm done. They'll still give me a participation trophy, right?
Right. Yeah. No, it's kind of like in Survivor. Like they always say, like the sweet spot for winning Survivor is sort of like early 30s.
Yeah.
Because you're sort of still young enough to be spry and like sort of you can get along with all age groups, but you're old enough to have life experience and be able to grit out the tough times. Yeah, I think it's the same thing.
And it's not a knock on the person. It's just you literally, when you're that young, unless you've had a really shitty upbringing, in which case I feel bad for you, and that's amazing that you survived that. But like, unless you've just lived life and like struggled and done the hard stuff, you're just not going to have that wisdom and that knowledge. Right. I mean, it's true what they say. You just don't have it when you're 18 and 19.
Right. Yeah.
You think you do.
Yeah. So that means, Catie, you and I are in our prime age for going on alone. So
what the hell? Why don't we? I'll never go on alone. Survivor seems like a piece of cake compared to alone.
I doubt it is, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Comparatively, neither is,
yes.
And I will never do either. But
all right. So anything else about Dave and Brooke?
No, I like their chances. We haven't seen a lot of Dave. I feel like we've seen more of Brooke.
Dave, I like when he put on his wet shirt and he's like,
"Oh yeah,
whoa, 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 whoa!" Like he freaked out. That was funny.
It's accurate when you feel something really cold. You kind of sound silly.
Like, oh God, oh!
Or like when you drop an ice cube down your shirt or something, and you're like, ah.
Yeah. That was pretty much all we got of Dave and Brooke in episode 2. Was Dave putting on a wet shirt and Brooke getting fire. They were featured a little bit in episode 1, which once again makes them a favorite to go.
They were the first people they showed.
Right. Oh yeah, Brooke's been seeing a lot of wolves, so that could be an issue. But she doesn't seem to be like so scared she's gonna quit. I think
that's what I mean. She seems like just numb to the craziness of this. Like she's just all business.
Well, yeah, if you watch some of their the preseason cast special, you really get the sense that they're ready for this. They're used to this stuff. Like they're all about it. Right. Let's see. Yeah, I know Dave and Brooke were featured in that first episode, so I'm seeing if there's anything else here. Brooke was communicating with eagles.
Yeah, apparently. that was. You're not supposed to call back to them.
You're not, because they come and attack you, or what?
It confuses them.
At
least that's what I was told when I worked at a conservation center. Someone said something, and maybe it stuck with me because I felt like I was getting reprimanded. But like, I was told you're not supposed to do that.
Right. Okay. I have a quote from Dave that says, "The right person ... Don't remember what that means. Does he say something like the right person's going to come out of this with $500,000 or something?
I don't remember.
The right person's going to win. I don't know. Could be a winner quote. I don't remember. Sometimes
if you don't remember it, it can't really be a winner's quote.
Yeah, sometimes I don't have time to write these full quotes out, and I feel like it's worth writing down, but you know.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm good on Dave and Brooke. Let's move on to
Chris and Brody, probably the only ones we haven't really talked about. Right?
Chris and Brody, beard bros.
One guy doesn't have a beard. Well, he will soon, I'm sure, but.
Oh, he doesn't. Oh, yeah, one guy's more like a
baby face,
kind of hippie looking guy, like a.
He seems John more London. Like an archivist looking guy.
Archivist. Yeah. Okay.
Like a library man. I don't know. He just seems normal looking, is what I'm saying. With a Survivor hat, not Survivor the show, but like
I don't know.
wilderness hat.
Kind of get like the Lennon character from Lost vibe from him for some reason.
Oh, you're talking about the older one.
Yeah, the older one with the glasses.
Okay, yeah. I can see that. He seems like a college professor.
Okay, sure.
That's the vibe I got from him.
Yeah, these are the ones that they really drove home the story about how they're going to miss their wives. So I think they're going to be quitters.
Yeah, and their daughters. And they really drove home the 11-year age gap thing, and how the older one wanted to actually finally spend some time with his younger brother because they haven't had that really time together because of they're so far apart in age.
So, I mean, I think we probably will get some story out of them. I
hope so. I hope we don't just get tap, 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 tap. It's like the opposite of last season.
Yeah, I think we probably will see Jesse and Shannon tap soon-ish. And then Chris and Brody will get some story out of, and they'll quit. But
okay, well, so you've got it all figured out.
We're only left with like 3 teams that we can decide who's gonna win. You know?
Yeah. So it's really like picking a winner pick at this point. We got a 1 in 5 chance.
Yeah, we're sitting good.
Yeah.
The game
you
is
got it right last time.
I did my first winner pick in a really long time, I think. But
it's easier when there's 10 people as opposed to 20 on Survivor.
That's true, yeah. Let's see here. What else do we know about Chris?
I don't know what else to say about them.
What did we get in the episodes about them?
He's pissed off at the mountain, apparently. I thought that was Jesse, but I guess that's Brody.
Yeah, he falls because he misses his step. Well, he mentions that he's walking and he steps, and he thinks it's like going to be a 1 foot drop, but it's like 5.
Oh yeah. But he's okay. It's not like an accident or anything.
Right. It just kind of illustrates the how bad the terrain is. You can't even see when there's like a big drop in front of you.
Yeah.
How tough it would be to hike through that. That's crazy.
Definitely.
Did we get anything from Chris and Brody in episode 1?
No, I don't believe we did.
I don't think
they were featured until episode 2.
Yeah, so there's not a terrible amount to talk about with those 2.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about them. I don't get the immediate good feeling I get with like Ted and Jim and Brooke and Dave.
Right.
With those 2 pairs, I get an immediate sensation that they'll be around a while. Yeah. I'm just a little confused on the Chris and Brody thing, probably because they have a lot of similarities to Jesse and Shannon.
Okay, I found one more note about them. Chris is only 5 miles from Brody.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember which one is camping, which one's doing the camp, but
I think the older one must be camping.
Right.
The professor.
But he makes this like interesting thing out of ropes and jugs to it's like a sign that the hiker can see, like in case he's not at camp.
Oh, he's hanging up his garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like hanging up garbage to be like, oh wow, this has to be my brother's camp, Yeah. So I think that's going to pay off. Like we're gonna get to see him stumble upon this like garbage thing, and then So these 2 are gonna find each other. It's just.
That's another thing about Shannon I feel bad about. I forgot about his little crab trap. Like he seems so excited about it. I hope he doesn't tap. I'm worried.
Well, hopefully he's just injured to the point where he can sort of be taken care of for a little while.
Yeah, especially if Jesse's not that far away. He can come and take care of him, just like he said he was going to have to do.
Right.
I hope so.
Yeah, so that's about it for Chris and Brody. And then the only other team that we haven't talked about will be Pete and Sam. And the dad is 61 years old. The son is 30 something. I'm not sure, but the son is like kind of a hippie type. He's got a big ass beard, and Pete, the dad, was a falconer.
Oh man, really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and Sam, the hippie, is really good with plants. He knows He's like one of the best plant experts they've ever seen, they said.
But they'll do all right.
Pete's a hunter and Sam is a fisher. So they kind of both have different skills.
They'll balance each other out nicely.
Yeah.
Well, so they're obviously doing okay now because it's day 4 or 5 and they haven't tapped yet.
And they haven't showed them.
So they probably make it pretty far.
Yeah. So, put those guys in the running with Jim and Ted and Dave and Brooke.
Okay.
And I think that's who you're looking at. So anything from the 2 episodes you want to touch on? I mean, we mostly focus this around getting to know the characters, but
and just gut instincts, and we kind of talked about that. So I guess I don't know how much else I have to say on it. What about you?
Any interesting animals or anything? I mean, not really. I mean, they find lots of mushrooms, chanterelles,
turkey tail mushrooms.
Yeah, I don't know that we got much else.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning of the season, it's always just kind of, who are they? What is their deal?
What is happening? Oh, Brooke finds a newt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Brooke really has the animal thing going on.
Yeah, I think she's going to do all right.
Eagles, newts, wolves.
Yeah, she's not scared of any of them. She's like, hey, bro, what's up?
So, yeah, I think that's good for this episode.
I think so, too. I mean, do you want to do a winner pick, even though it's kind of... I mean, I think we're going to pick the same team.
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, I am picking Jim and Ted, so...
Oh, okay. I think I might actually go with Dave and Brooke.
Okay. They're both good choices, I think.
Yeah. So, my thought is Jim and Ted are going to, be top 3. They're going to be featured a lot because they're the most interesting by a long shot. Well, the most entertaining, because they're funny. So they'll be featured a lot, but I don't know about winning.
Okay. Maybe I'm just picking them because they remind me a little bit of Fowler.
Yeah, I mean, I think once again, sense of humor seems to be the trait that all the winners have in common. So it's like underrated. So good. I would say that's a good pick. I'm gonna pick Dave and Brooke, but we haven't seen Pete and Sam. I do think they are definitely a contender to win.
He's a freaking falconer.
Yeah, I would put them in my top 3 for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Without even having to see him.
don't even know what their face looks like.
So who do you got tapping next?
Well, obviously Jesse and Shannon. I don't want it to be so, but...
Yeah, I'm going to put my money there too. I'm with you. Yeah.
It's a bummer. And maybe they did the cliffhanger thing because it's not really going to be a tap, like the Callie thing last year. She healed herself.
Right, yeah. They've been known to do that. So
yeah, they're tricksters with the editing. They don't quite know what they're doing. But
right, yeah. We complained a lot about that last season because they had at least 3 episodes that ended with like a cliffhanger that was unresolved.
Well, they did the same thing with episode 1 with the Bears and Logan, and then they didn't even show them first thing in the second episode. All they showed was Alex getting pulled and taken to his son who had tapped.
Right. So we can pretty much assume that next week's episode ends with somebody hearing an animal and getting scared.
So,
because that's how they all end. So yeah, they better work on that, or I might actually get sick of it at some point.
Yeah, it's dumb.
I might be like, this is you guys do this every time,
And it's also annoying how the beginning, right after the commercial break, is a repeat of what was right before the commercial break. It's like, it hasn't been a week between episodes. We don't need a refresher. Like, we just saw it 5 minutes ago. Or if we're watching online, we just saw it 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, a lot of shows do this thing, and
scripted shows don't do it. Like, why do they assume people watching reality shows are dumber than people watching scripted shows?
Well, I mean...
Think of all the analysis that goes into reality TV.
Yeah, I guess.
As opposed to, like, The Big Bang Theory. Does anybody analyze that?
We should.
I don't think we should.
Okay. All right. Well, any final thoughts?
No. I hope it's not a 5-episode season, but the rate we're going, there might only be 3 podcasts left on this season.
Right. I'm sure there's at least 8 episodes, so...
Okay.
That'll do it for this episode of the podcast. Thanks for listening. You can follow us on Twitter at TV's Our Real Mom, and be sure to like, comment, favorite, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Bye.